Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. There is one thing that is absolutely guaranteed about tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. The go-home episode for WrestleMania 37 for Monday Night Raw did absolutely nothing to get you excited for this biggest show of the year, produced by the WWE, world's worst entertainment, which produces a really awful wrestling show known as Monday Night Raw, the final stop on the go-home show or the road to WrestleMania. Was not a good one. In fact, I almost didn't make it because the sweet sounds of Bad Bunny and everything else of this show almost lulled me into a comatose sleep. And we are going to talk about all of it and so much more right here and right now. My name's Nick Nightmare. You are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Monday Night Raw review and reaction show on the road to WrestleMania. Let's do it.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Oh my goodness, it seems to get worse and worse every week, does it not? I don't know what it is about the team that puts this show together, but they did the most piss poor job that I have ever seen. This might have been the worst go-home show for Monday Night Raw leading into WrestleMania that there has ever been. When every single segment in the first hour makes you roll your eyes in the back of your head, you know you're watching a bad show. When the only thing that was good on the whole entire show is coming out of an idea that is actually terrible, being the breaking up of the Hurt Business. When you're watching everything the Hurt Business did tonight being the best stuff on the show, it has a very bittersweet taste to it, does it not? Because we didn't want the Hurt Business to close, but tonight on Monday Night Raw, Bobby Lashley single-handedly closed the Hurt Business for good, and it just, as entertaining as it was, as good as the in-ring action was featuring the Hurt Business tonight, it just, nobody wanted to see this. Nobody wanted to see this. They were the best thing going, and they proved it, even being broken up. They still proved as a group to be the most entertaining thing on Monday Night Raw. Outside of that, I want you guys to riddle me this. I have a question for you guys. Who is the most useless and silliest and most ridiculous thing on Monday Night Raw? You're looking at him right now. Riddle me this, everybody. Why does Matt Riddle have fucking birds coming flying out of his feet? We talked about this last week. I didn't think that this was going to be a thing that stuck. I mean, it's not as bad as the choo-choo train for Braun Strowman that we didn't have to hear this week. But what is with the fucking birds out of the feet? I don't understand. Is he the Birdman, Matt Riddle, now? Or is it because he gets high? We had 19,000 weed jokes in about 30 seconds in a short little promo segment for Matt Riddle tonight, and is that why he's shooting birds out of his feet? And what kind of stuff am I smoking that I'm not shooting birds and wild animals and multi-technicolors out of the appendages of my body? Where's he getting his stuff from? Is this that medical grade stuff? Is this some stuff that Vince McMahon gets specially made for him so that he can shoot magical, colorful fucking birds out of his feet? What are we talking about here? We're talking about Matt Riddle. And I don't understand his character. I don't understand his packaging. And I don't understand anything that they do with this guy. It's just absolute trash. It's garbage. Just like the entire first hour of Monday Night Raw. That started out with Drew McIntyre coming out. And the guy at least had the sense to put a shirt on because he knew he was going to do a promo, and he didn't just come out in his kilt this time, and he was dressed up, and he came out and bored the shit out of me. And I'm sitting back and I'm thinking to myself, this is not Drew McIntyre. I don't know who this guy is. This is Vince's Drew McIntyre, because if you're like me, you're remembering Drew McIntyre back in his days in NXT. You're remembering seeing him when he was in Impact Wrestling and he was having that career resurgence, which brought him back to the WWE in the first place. And you know the guy's a good promo. You know that he loves pro wrestling. You know that he has fire and passion in his veins. But man, does he not show it. Maybe he's not looking forward to his match with Bobby Lashley any more than the rest of us are. Maybe he knows this is almost like a gimme for him. That they're just redoing WrestleMania from last year so that he could win the title back in front of fans. But they're replacing Brock Lesnar with the almighty Bobby Lashley. And he's going to be sacrificed for a special moment for Drew McIntyre. His promo at the beginning of this show, he looked like he didn't care about anything he was saying. He had no fire to him. He had no emotion. And the little bit that he did show was just like he raised his voice a little bit. And then he got into an argument as Bobby Lashley came out to confront him, which was easily the best part of the segment. Like we said, the Hurt Business comes out, the show gets better. But then they made it worse, because instead of them just having this nice little back and forth between Drew McIntyre and then going to commercial and coming out to the next segment, they had to remind us that Constable King Dickhead was around and that he was going to have this match with Drew McIntyre in the main event of Raw tonight. The most predictable, useless, and nonsensical match they have booked for Drew McIntyre in this whole ridiculous road to WrestleMania that he's had, and nobody wanted to see this either. In fact, this match almost put me out for the count, to the point where I almost was not sitting here for you guys doing this review right now. Which, if you're already having a good time, don't forget to smash that like button. Make sure you hit subscribe so that you're not missing anything as we continue on this bumpy ass ridiculous road to WrestleMania, as we cover everything that they throw at us, as we get ready to throw some poop hammers at them. Because after everything that we had to witness, and Constable King Dickhead coming out and confronting the challenger for the championship, and Bobby Lashley in the middle, and this whole muddled, ridiculous, confusing thing, we got a rematch. The first match on the show was a rematch from last week. Xavier Woods is going to take on AJ Styles, because we all know Big Mighty Almost in the mauve sweater cost AJ Styles the match last week, got himself disqualified because of his interference. We're having a rematch 7 days later, because there's nothing else they can do. They want to save the Giant Almost for WrestleMania, so what else are you going to do? You're going to have him fight Kofi again, AJ? Or why are we going to not have another stupid game night? At least we could say thank you for that. Thanks, Vince, for not giving us another stupid game night, but you could have came up with something better than a repeat segment from last week, which also was preceded by the first of many ridiculous Matt Riddle segments on this night. He's standing in the back with Woods and Kofi in Gorilla. They're talking about nonsense. I really couldn't even follow it. All you can get out of it was that Matt Riddle was making a lot of pothead jokes. And then when Matt Riddle left the scene, the New Day was like, are we the ones that are high? Did this really happen? And Kofi's like, I don't know. I feel like having some milk and cookies right now. Ha 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 ha. Because, potheads get the munchies. It was just so stupid. It was so childish and ridiculous. And then we had to see AJ Styles lose to Xavier Woods in this stupidly planned rematch in less than 2 minutes. I mean, I think this match barely went 1 minute. It pretty much began. AJ Styles caught him in a calf crusher. Next thing you know, Kofi Kingston's picking on the Giant Almost mauve sweater wearing massive, gigantic person outside. All of a sudden, he's in this mauve sweatshirt ever since he revealed that was his favorite color. Come on. Fucking ridiculous. And why did this happen? AJ Styles losing to Xavier Woods because of outside interference. It's the same exact finish, but in a different way. In a worse way. because AJ actually was pinned in a flash pinfall. AJ Styles, a guy that once upon a time in New Japan at least went, I think, 15 to 20 minutes in a knockdown drag out with a Shinsuke Nakamura and wrestlers of those caliber over there, is losing in a little bit over 60 seconds to a flash pinfall after he's like 100%. Like, it just made AJ Styles look like a fool. And all this is for what? For us to watch Omos wrestle at WrestleMania to make his debut? We're sacrificing the tag team championship angle to debut this guy. He better be worth it. That's what I gotta say. You know, it wasn't worth it. Anytime we seen Bad Bunny and The Miz on this television, either one or the other or both. Because I don't care about the feud. I don't care about either of the men involved. And tonight's big revelation, was that the match between Bad Bunny and The Miz at WrestleMania is now going to be the tag team match that we all speculated it would be. At least Damian Priest is going to get in the ring and probably get over here. But I still don't care. I don't care about him driving up to Monday Night Raw with his fancy white $3 million Bugatti automobile. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I care about as much of that as I do about anything that has to do with Braun the Snowman and the human sweat machine, Shane McStumpman. Alright, I don't give a shit how big the pirate ship at WrestleMania 37 is going to be. I don't care what the set looks like. I don't care that they're going to be inside of a steel cage. I have zero interest in this when everything about it is centered around the fact that this is a 5-year-old storyline that is centered around bullying, where the guy that's 3 times the size of the bully does nothing to kill said bully. I mean, bullying is usually, David and Goliath type of a thing where the big man picks on the little man. We all know how we hate that storyline as it is, because if that was the case, we would be having Braun Strowman just calling Shane McMahon short. You may be rich, but you're short. Ha ha ha. And that's what this feud would be built off of. But instead, they decided to flip the script, and little bitty sweatball Shane McMahon is intimidating the giant jolly green Strowman. And Braun Strowman took the really cliche road. They set up the steel cage around Braun Strowman just so that he could deliver this ridiculous promo where he could say, if you've ever been one of those people that have been bullied, and has anybody ever called you stupid, I'm going to do this for you. I'm doing this for all the little guys. I'm doing this for everyone who's been bullied. Blah, blah, blah. Then Shane McMahon came out. He said that he tested Strowman's intelligence by letting him pick the stipulation, and that the cage match was a stupid idea. He said that he's been planning on beating Braun Strowman at WrestleMania. I don't know why, nor do I care. And then Strowman would look himself in the mirror the next day and realize that he was actually stupid. This is the epitome of stupid. Everything about this whole entire storyline. Another thing that was stupid about it, not that I give 2 shits about Elias anymore, not that I care at all about Jackson Ryker, but here are two guys that are supposed to be capable, 2 guys that are supposed to be professional wrestlers, go out there and lose to Braun Strowman in a 2-on-1 handicap match in less than 3 minutes. Rest in peace to the careers of Elias and Jackson Ryker. 2 men together couldn't get Braun Strowman past the 2-minute mark, which is unforgivable. Especially when you take into account that Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander did better against Bobby Lashley, the World Heavyweight Champion. It's just friggin' ridiculousness. And when you want to talk about ridiculousness, you get no better than when we talk about the women's division here. We had a match, once again, that nobody wanted to see because the WWE is obsessed with taking the women's champion and teaming her with her opponent and then putting them against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler or whomever the women's tag team champions of the time might be. This is the only way to book a women's champion in the WWE, and it has become boring, it has become irrelevant, cliche, we're all sick of it, and it didn't go down that well because the Can They Coexist storyline never turns out well for anybody. In this case, it turned out even worse for each and every one of us. It was just a waste. It was a waste. We all knew what was going to happen. Asuka and Rhea Ripley, no way were going to win this match, but the way in which they made them go about losing this match makes this writing team look as inept as they actually are. Do you realize that Asuka, at the end of this match, went up to the top rope, was in position, and was setting up to possibly get the win for her team, and unprovoked, for unreason, out of nowhere, Rhea Ripley knocked her off from the outside, goes and attacks her, gives her this vicious slam outside to the concrete, throws her own partner back into the ring, and then Shayna Baszler follows it up with the pinfall win. It just made everything so stupid, and it makes Asuka look so ridiculous. And let's just understand that once again, the champion was pinned, right? At this time, not even by the challenger, which makes it infinitely worse. The challenger sacrificed the match, and what does it accomplish? It makes Rhea Ripley look like the heel going into this scenario, and it almost makes me feel like the WWE's not going to take the title off of Asuka, because wouldn't you want to be establishing Rhea as your new babyface so that, you know, she could fight all of the heel? You know what, when it comes to the women's division, we can't even speculate, because I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out at all. But wait, there's more, and it gets infinitely worse, so much worse that we're bringing down another poop hammer for this scenario, and it's well deserved, because everything else involving the women's tag team championships is just a hot mess. In fact, somebody in the WWE fucked up tonight and released the wrong picture on Twitter. If you were following your social media account during Raw, you would see that they dropped a graphic for a 5-team women's match on night 1, where they're going to call it Tag Team Turmoil, and the 5 teams, as we speculated after SmackDown this Friday, were going to be Lana and Natty, Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. It's going to be the Riot Squad, Natalya and Tamina, and the not even yet formed as a tag team, Carmella and Billie Kay. This was the official graphic that was released. I made a comment on it, and then immediately it was taken down off of Twitter because they didn't even set this up yet. And somebody messed up. That's how just unorganized and uncoordinated this team is as a whole. They can't get this women's together at all, and then they have stupid errors like this that just make it even more unforgivable. Just absolutely ridiculous. But we had the obligatory everybody has to get together and argue that's in this match segment, which we'll probably see once again Friday night on WrestleMania SmackDown, which essentially is slowly becoming night 1 of a 3-night WrestleMania. Let's just get that out of the way. So all the teams are in the back, and they're all like, well, no, I'm going to win, or you're going to win. And Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler actually had a good point, because as each pair of women made their way into the scene, they pointed out, oh, well, we've already beaten you. We've already beaten you guys, and you guys. So what do they really have to worry about? And not that we're ever on the side of Jax and Baszler, because we don't like them as a team either. But they got a point. They have no reason to be scared of any of these chicks. It's just ridiculous. And let's just take a moment and bow our heads for Bayley. Let's just throw this out there. Do you realize that in this match, Tamina is going to have a match at WrestleMania? Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott, who have barely been on TV, is going to have a match at this year's WrestleMania. Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, Lana, and Naomi have all done nothing but lose for weeks and weeks and weeks. They're getting an opportunity to gain a championship opportunity at WrestleMania. Natty is going to be at WrestleMania. She's having a match at WrestleMania. Billie Kay, who has barely wrestled all year. What has she wrestled twice this year altogether? I think Peyton Royce wrestled way more than she did. They're all on the WrestleMania card. But the woman who's been the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion in history had the title for the majority of the year until it was taken from her by Sasha Banks a few months ago. She doesn't get a spot on the WrestleMania card. What is she just going to be in some women's... They can't even have a women's battle royal because half the women in the division are in this one match. I don't get it. They couldn't find something for the former champ to do. Is Mickie James busy? Is Peyton Royce busy? Are any of these other women busy? Maybe you have Becky Lynch come back at WrestleMania, and I don't know. I don't know anymore. Bobby Lashley defeated Cedric Alexander with Shelton Benjamin. This match was given a lot of time. The one thing I did notice about this, though, was that the WWE did this weird thing tonight where they would have somebody come out for an entrance and then come back from commercial, and that person would still be in the middle of their entrance, and then they'd go back to a commercial again, and then they come back, and then they have the other guy in the ring. Cedric Alexander didn't even get an entrance tonight with Shelton Benjamin, but they spent so much time before they got to these matches. It's almost as if guys like Bobby Lashley prior to their match and Drew McIntyre also later on in the evening would be standing in the ring for upwards of over 10 minutes before their match or their opponent would even come out, and it just was like filling time and adding more commercials because they just can't come up with anything good to show any of us. But this match, the in-ring action was pretty decent. The Hurt Business still, even though they are separated, best part of this show. Some really good action here. I love the intensity from Bobby Lashley, showing the world why he should be the champion. That although I don't like the breaking up of the faction, he definitely looked like a badass as he put Cedric over while also keeping himself looking strong. He also tapped out Cedric to the Hurt Lock, but actually, let me correct myself, Cedric was passed out by the Hurt Lock. The guy was so out of it. Shelton Benjamin during the match was pleading with Bobby Lashley at one point to just stop. Please stop. Enough is enough. Bobby Lashley hit him with the hell of a spine buster and then passed him out with a Hurt Lock. As soon as the bell rang, Shelton Benjamin tried to save his friend, but he would suffer the same fate. He would get a flatliner to the face and then locked up in the Hurt Lock himself. This time Bobby Lashley closing the Hurt Business for good, looking strong, taking out these two guys. And I thought this was great. A great way to make the champ look strong. I just wish it didn't come at the expense of the best faction in the WWE right now. Then it became time to take a nap because we had a very long video package, a very long segment promoting and having us relive everything that has happened with Randy Orton, Bray, the toasty version of the Fiend, the Marshmallow Fiend, toasted Marshmallow Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and Randy and Alexa. Alright, now we went through this whole entire thing, yet there was no segment. There was no final go-home angle. There was nothing to really put it over or get us excited about this match because it's done nothing but lose interest as the weeks go on, especially now that we got the extra toasty, extra crispy Fiend looking like a giant Stay Puft Marshmallow Man after he got shocked with all the, Ghostbusters little ecto rays. Just ridiculous. Unforgivable if you ask me. You know what else was unforgivable? Giving Bad Bunny a mic. I don't care that The Miz and Morrison ruined his car. We all know that paint or whatever it was that they used to vandalize the Bugatti automobile was not actual paint, right? It's something that's going to wash off easily. Even if it doesn't, If you have enough money to buy a Bugatti, I'm sure you have enough money to get a nice new crispy paint job. I don't feel too bad for a guy like Bad Bunny in this scenario. If you're worried about your personal property, maybe don't drive your $3 million car to Monday Night Raw just to try to look like a badass. In these types of things don't happen. Just take a limo like everybody else. Call an Uber. I'm sure they have one just custom made for you, if you ask. After all, you are the Bad Bunny, aren't you? Lost in the shuffle here is Damian Priest, but let me tell you something. They gave this way too much time. This guy was more like the Energizer Bunny than Bad Bunny because he just kept going and going and going. And then Damian Priest says he wants this to be a tag team match. He lays out the challenge. Miz and Morrison interrupted on screen after waiting way too long and giving these guys way too much TV time. They accepted the challenge and then they left in a limousine. Fantastic. We all knew this was coming and I still don't care. Nothing about anything they did made me give a shit. Miz and Morrison are not DX. Remember when DX, cool DX, was, Shawn and Triple H, they were running around spray painting stuff with the green paint. I think they were trying to evoke some of that, but really it just showed the Miz and Morrison to be criminals. They vandalized this guy's car. They beat down Bad Bunny at some point in the night. And it wasn't anything worth remembering. This show was so bad that as I was going through it, my brain was actively erasing it from my memory banks as it was happening. Because there's nothing worth anything here. We had some sort of a very unnecessary, weird confrontation between Sheamus McSpeakeasy and his magic suspenders and his 1920s hat, and Ali, the man without a faction now, but I guess he's blaming that on Matt Riddle. Ali said something like, if it wasn't for Riddle, Retribution would still be a thing. It's like, it's Matt Riddle's fault. Retribution is dead. I don't remember that happening. If anything, it's your fault. But that's what a delusional, psychotic, sociopathic leader would say. I don't know where Ali's character is going. I appreciate the fact that when he comes out for his match, they're not shaking the camera all over the place, giving me epilepsy. But this was an unnecessary lead-in to a match that we were having. Another rematch. United States Champion Riddle and his magic fucking bird feet defeating Mustafa Ali in this non-title match for absolutely no reason. I guess to give the champ some momentum going in, but who really cares about any of this? Riddle versus Sheamus. If we're lucky, Sheamus will win the way he beat Daniel Bryan back in WrestleMania days of old. Give him an 18-second loss. I don't give a shit. I don't want to see any of this. Absolutely ridiculous. Matt Riddle catches him with the Bro Derek, points at Sheamus, who was at ringside for this match, delivering on commentary, and then that was that. That was over. They then went down the WrestleMania card and reminded us all just how underwhelming everything they have planned is. They talked about some chick coming to sing America the Beautiful, and all it did was make me feel really old, because when you think about the celebrity involvement on this show, guys like Logan Paul, guys like Bad Bunny, and this BB Rexa, Rushka, however you say her name, I don't know any of them. I don't care about any of them, and they are not celebrities to me if I don't know them. Certainly, I'm sure they have their fan bases that they're going to bring to the table, but I am not among any of them, so all they're doing for a guy like me is infringing on something that I am a fan of, making something that's already bad and struggling even worse. I don't know, maybe she'll do a bang-up job. Who cares? I don't tune in to WrestleMania to see who's singing America the Beautiful. Then we had the main event. A very long main event, and of course they have to give the longest match of the night to Constable King Dickhead Baron Corbin, and we watched a very standard back and forth Drew McIntyre versus Baron Corbin. Everybody knew who was going to win. There's no way Baron Corbin was walking away with a victory here. Drew McIntyre knocked him out after he tried to cheat by using MVP's cane. So down goes Constable King Dickhead. This brings Bobby Lashley into the ring so that they can do what every great championship match duo does, and they stare. The dreaded stare down as they looked eye to eye, breathing deeply. As Monday Night Raw went off the air, and I can't help but think, man, how terrible has all of this been? You know, even last year, in the middle of a pandemic, they put together a WrestleMania card that was at least interesting, right? We had the Boneyard match. We had, Drew versus Brock. There was some really good stuff planned for WrestleMania. They didn't execute very well on a lot of them. And the card was split into two nights for the first time in history, and it still felt like WrestleMania. And you would think that with the ability for fans to be in attendance, they would really want to go balls out with this WrestleMania and give us something, or give the fans that come out something to really remember. But instead, we're getting bullshit matches. We're getting Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon, a feud that is now ending inside of a steel cage that has been built upon playing hopscotch and getting slimed with green paint and calling each other stupid and sitting Braun Strowman in a dunce cap with his F's and his report cards. Very childish, very silly, but it's ending in a steel cage? We still have no fucking clue what Randy Orton and The Fiend are really doing. Is it going to be a cinematic match? Is it going to be a Firefly Funhouse match? Is it going to be a Wyatt Family Compound match? Are they going to do it in RKOville? Do we even really care at this point? A lot of these things, I just hope that when they culminate them at WrestleMania, they go away. I don't want to see a lot of this stuff following the pay-per-view. They need to start going in different directions and do different things. And we can't do another shake-up, because it doesn't matter how you split the rosters. The shows are both equally bad. When both shows only have one story that's going on that you're really interested in, then there's really not much to tune in for. Especially when it comes to Raw, when a 3-hour fucking show where only about 10 minutes of it was worth your time. And even that we didn't want, really, because nobody was happy about the breakup of the Hurt Business. But yet they still put on the best segment of the night. Beating out the WWE Championship scenario, beating out the Tag Team Championship situation, beating out anything else that's going on with it. I just don't understand. I will never understand why they did it. And all it did was throw a wrench in everything. It brought Baron Corbin to Raw just to lose to Drew McIntyre. I don't care. I really don't care. It's hard to get excited for this year's WrestleMania, but I will be there so that we can come back here and bring the hammer down together as only we can do right here at Sledge Nation. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team, Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue, the Snowball, the most important member of the team as always, each and every one of you. And now is your time to shine. You get to help this channel out, and it doesn't cost you a rotten stinking nickel. It don't cost you a pound. It don't cost you a pence or anything else you want to call your dollar bills. Don't cost you any of that. All you got to do is give me some clicks. Click the thumbs up. Click the share button. Show this video to anybody you think would have a good time and joining us here in our crusade to bring the hammer down on the WWE. And then, of course, if you are not already, hit that subscribe button and join the Sledgeheads of the Sledge Nation, the newest, fastest rising, coolest, most fun podcast and group of people in the YWC. Hit me up in the comment section down below. Are you excited for WrestleMania? Be honest. If you're excited, it's fine. I'm not going to hurt you. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, just like I'm entitled to mine, which is why I'm sitting here telling it to all of you. If you missed the SmackDown review and anything else on this shitty road to WrestleMania, everything's linked in the annotations up above. The Elimination Chamber review, Royal Rumble review. If you're a new fan and you missed any of the old stuff, it's all right up there for you. I hope you guys had a safe and happy and wonderful Easter weekend if you celebrate the Easter holiday. We are now just a few days away from what should be a wrestling fan favorite time of year. And it still is my favorite time of year. They just ruin it. They ruin it for us, don't they? But I'm going to be here, so I hope you will be here too. WrestleMania this weekend, WrestleMania SmackDown this Friday, and maybe something special in between if I could squeeze it in to my work schedule. That, my friends, is going to do it. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here with me. That's going to do it. We are out of here. We will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV right here on youtube.com/.